Deck bridge.
Go ahead.
Deck bridge, we're getting closer to the fishing eye and it looks like they are transshipping. Please start getting ready to put the small boats in the water.
Copy that.
Being so inside of the elements makes you feel very connected to nature, but at the same time, it takes a lot of preparation. You just don't open the door and go outside. First, spend a lot of time gearing up, and then finally you go outside, and it's a bit technical to be outside. It's not made for us. We shouldn't see anything industrial. We shouldn't see any steel in here. We shouldn't see any human, really.
It's very important as boat operator that when we operate and maneuver the small boats, we do it the proper way, because of course no one wants to go overboard on the equator when the water is 28 degrees, but for sure no one wants to go in the water here in Antarctica when the water is 0 degrees.
Take 3 seconds, one more for launch. Full station, we are underway.
What we see behind us right now is unprecedented. What we have behind us is a tanker, a reefer, a fishing vessel, and further in the background is another reefer and another fishing vessel, all engaged in transshipment operation. That transshipment operation is a mean that fishing fleets have to maximize their time fishing by offloading all of their catch to a third-party vessel that will be the one ferrying all of that back to shore for further transformation. Next to them is the tanker. That tanker is here to transfer fuel back to the fishing vessel, so the fishing vessel no longer has to go back to shore for refueling, again maximizing their time fishing, maximizing their impact down in the Southern Ocean. Transferring fuel in such a pristine environment is putting the whole ecosystem at risk in case of an oil spill in between the two vessels, which is not uncommon while transshipping fuel at sea.
These vessels work as factories, and their main goal is to stay in Antarctica, to stay fishing as long as possible. They can stay in Antarctica all year long, just fishing and fishing and fishing, day and night, in order to fish as much as possible.
Easy for a hunted whale will eat in 10 days. This is so much krill.
The krill fishing fleet operates under Olympic-style fishery. So what they do is they fish as much as possible, as quick as possible, because at the end they will reach what is called a trigger limit. So it's the maximum amount of krill that they can fish each year, that is 620,000 tons. And once they reach this amount of krill, they cannot fish anymore.
There's a whale! Yeah, we're seeing now several whales. As I was saying, this is the trickiest moment. This is the moment in which krill starts moving on the net, and we have fin whales right on the side that they just appeared. So we're gonna keep monitoring, seeing if they're getting closer to the ship, farther from the ship.
Everything is more difficult in Antarctica. The logistic of this operation is incredibly risky down in this weather. The weather is ever changing. And what those guys are doing is that they're transferring all of the product they've transformed inside of the factory, inside the industrial super trawler, to a vessel that will be taking it back to the global market, where it's going to be spread around the planet as animal feed or as so-called health supplements.
So not only we're removing the foundation of the Antarctic ecosystem, but we're doing this to feed fish that are closed in just cages in order to feed other people, contributing to an extremely polluting industry. Yeah, so there's a lot of buoy here. Then they close it, and then they will hanging from deck, and you will start to see how they empty krill in a hole. For me, even if media and science have a lot of things that are different, they do share a lot of things in common. And I think that in order to have an effective campaign, we need to find these things in common. At the end of the day, if we see one image, we see one whale next to a fishing vessel, we cannot know if this happened every day, if this happens once a year. We just have this like very intense image. However, when we use science, we have way less emotional results, but are results that speak about trends, that speak about eventualities. So at the end of this trip, what we will know is how often are whales next to fishing vessels. And then we have very concrete numbers that will help policy.
So look, we got maybe with a bit of luck, this one will meet with this one.
Luca, so maybe this whale will meet with this vessel, and that's what we want to check.
Wait a second, please. I'm gonna change lens now.
For me, with this lens is the best distance.
I think as a photographer on the front line, I am the eyes of the rest of the world. I think my power is here, is to be able to go down there, be cold, be in this rough weather, and take those pictures so other people from home can act on the problem without having to come down here and see that by their own eyes.
Look, there is penguin again, just next to the net. Oh God, got so many penguins this year.
Yeah, let me know when you're happy.
I think we're good here. Thanks.
I think we live in a world where big companies are doing big things and we think we can't stop them, we can't change these kind of things. But we have to remind ourselves that nothing is permanent, and the krill fishing industry wasn't always existing, so it doesn't have to keep existing. And this can be stopped, as whaling has been stopped, and as other devastating stuff happening on this planet has to be stopped.